Nathan Aspinall just said Luke Littler will be out of darts in 5 years. Not slowed down, not burned out, gone. And what followed was a chain reaction no one saw coming, from Price to Humphries to Littler himself. Time to buckle up, because the darts world just caught fire. Days before the Premier League finals, one of the sport's top contenders, Nathan Aspinall, dropped a prediction that sent shockwaves through the circuit. He claimed that Luke Littler, the teenage phenom lighting up the sport, would quit before his 24th birthday. Not only that, he said Littler was already getting sick of the game. The result, a week-long backlash from top players, pundits, fans, and finally, Luke Littler himself. What started as a casual remark turned into one of the biggest controversies the sport has seen this year. Nathan Aspinall is no outsider. He's a Premier League finalist, a seasoned darts veteran, and one of Luke Littler's closest friends on tour. So when TalkSport called him up during a charity golf day, just days before the Premier League final, no one expected anything controversial. He was joking about his handicap, laughing with the hosts and sounding relaxed. And then, mid-conversation, he dropped it. "I just can't see him staying in the sport that long," Aspinall said. "I think he'll be off in about 5 years." He didn't say it with malice. There was no spite in his voice. He was talking about Luke Littler, 18 years old, already a world champion and the biggest teenage talent darts has ever seen. But Aspinall didn't stop there. "He's already getting fed up of playing and travelling all the time," he added. "He's only been doing it for 12 months. He didn't stop there. Aspinall pointed to Littler's growing connection to the world of YouTube and content creation, referencing his friendship with Angry Ginge, a well-known online personality. "He's good mates with Angry Ginge. Does a lot on YouTube. I can see him going down that path." It didn't sound like an attack. It sounded like concern from someone who knows Littler better than most. But whether he meant it as a warning or just an honest take, it hit hard. Because no one was ready to imagine darts without Luke Littler. And just like that, the firestorm began. The darts world didn't stay silent for long. Nathan Aspinall's prediction didn't sit quietly. Within 24 hours, Luke Humphries stepped forward. Cool-headed and composed, the world #1 also joined TalkSport to share his thoughts, and he did not hold back, didn't shout, didn't mock. He just disagreed. "I'm not really sure," he said. "I think he'll stay in the sport a lot longer than 5 years." For Humphries, the idea of Littler quitting darts so soon made no sense. He reminded listeners of one key truth. Darts is what made Luke Littler famous in the first place. Take that away, and everything else might follow. But more importantly, he pointed out something Aspinall had not considered. Littler doesn't need to choose between darts and everything else. He can do both. "You can still stream, post videos, do side stuff," Humphries said. "But that doesn't mean you stop playing darts." But the conversation didn't stop there. Humphries also addressed the underlying fatigue Aspinall hinted at. He acknowledged that the schedule is tough. The travel, the pressure, the weekly grind, it's real. But rather than leave, he offered a solution: smart calendar management. His tone was measured, like someone who knows the grind, because he's living it too. And unlike Aspinall, he wasn't ready to start the retirement countdown just yet. Gerwyn Price didn't respond to Nathan Aspinall by name, but he didn't need to. In a round of follow-up interviews, Price made his position clear. Luke Littler isn't a short-term story, he's a game changer. He spoke about what Littler has done for darts, the new fans, the bigger crowds, the booming prize pools, and he pointed out something staggering. Luke Littler now has more than 1.9 million followers on Instagram. That's more than Price, Van Gerwen, and Humphries combined. This isn't just a player with a hot hand, it's a cultural shift, and Price knows it. He acknowledged the spotlight Littler brings, and even welcomed the pressure that comes with it. Price's stance echoed a quiet truth among the elite. Littler is more than just a great player. He's a brand, a movement, a force pulling darts into its next generation. He didn't sound threatened, he sounded impressed. And though he never referenced Aspinall's 5-year prediction, his message was unmistakable. This kid isn't going anywhere. He brought the fans in, Price noted, but we've all had to keep them watching. That line wasn't just praise, it was a quiet show of respect, and a subtle way of saying, Luke Littler isn't fading, he's changing the game, and he's not finished yet. Nathan Aspinall's comment hit harder than expected because it didn't come out of nowhere. It tapped into something darts players have been quietly dealing with for years: burnout. The idea that someone could rise too fast, fly too high, and flame out just as quickly. This is not the sport it was 10 or 20 years ago. The modern PDC calendar is brutal. The Pro Tour, the Premier League, the majors, it never stops. No off-season, no recovery window. just non-stop travel. Players bounce from Germany to England, back across Europe, often with only a few days in between. For someone 18-year-old like Luke Littler, barely out of school, it's not just a calendar, it's a life overhaul. He's already getting fed up of playing and traveling all the time, Aspinall said. He's only been doing it for 12 months. It sounded harsh, but to some, it sounded real. Still, Luke Humphries offered another take. He didn't deny the toll, but he didn't see early retirement as the answer. His message was simple. Top players have to manage their calendar. You don't have to play every single tournament, he said. In other words, play the big ones. Skip the rest. Stay healthy. Stay in control. That's how you last. 2 viewpoints, 1 problem. And neither one is easy to solve. Fans didn't just watch this unfold, they joined the debate. Some agreed with Aspinall. They pointed to Littler's packed schedule, his age, the pressure of being a household name before turning 19. Others fired back. They saw a kid who loves the game, who thrives under lights, who doesn't look like he's going anywhere. For them, the suggestion that Littler might quit felt almost insulting. The kid's living his dream, one fan wrote online. Why assume he'll throw it away? But it wasn't just social media fueling the conversation. Sports psychologist Linda Duffy has been sounding the alarm. She warns that without proper guidance, players like Littler are vulnerable, not just to mental fatigue, but to deeper issues like anxiety, depression, and even dartitis, a condition that has ended careers before. She warned that unless Littler's team carefully manages his schedule and emotional well-being, burnout is a real threat. If he's not supported properly, she said, he could walk away within 5 years. This isn't just about Luke Littler. Luke Humphries recently opened up about his own struggles. He admitted that the joy was fading, that tournaments began to feel like chores. After receiving backlash for sharing his feelings, Humphries tweeted that he would never be that honest with the public again. That reaction spoke volumes. That's why this moment mattered, because if Littler does walk away, whether in 5 years or 10, it won't be a quiet exit. He is not just another young player, he's a lightning rod, a ratings magnet, a bridge between darts and the next generation. Take him out of the equation and you lose more than a name, you lose momentum. Even Aspinall, for all his concern, knows it. There's no ceiling to how high darts can go, he said, but only if Littler keeps playing. And that's the pressure no one wants to talk about. When the sport's future rests on the shoulders of someone barely old enough to vote. After all the headlines, after Aspinall's prediction, Humphries' defense, and the noise across social media, everyone waited to hear from one person, Luke Littler. And when he finally responded, he didn't lash out. He didn't post a thread or drop a fiery quote. He smiled. I know I've heard that, he said, referring to Aspinall's comment. I don't know where he's got that from. With one sentence, Littler flipped the tone. This wasn't a player feeling threatened or disrespected. This was a champion amused by the noise, unfazed by the speculation. Then he added the line that settled it all. Don't worry, I'll be here in 10 years. He called the retirement talk crazy to even think about. And when asked what he actually wants from darts, he made it simple. I just want to win one of every major title. That's all I really want to do. This wasn't someone with one foot out the door. This was a teenager locked in, focused, ambitious, and still enjoying the ride. Even when the conversation shifted to YouTube and streaming, exactly what Aspinall warned about, Littler stayed grounded. Yeah, that's something I've always wanted to do, he said. Be a Twitch streamer. Then he added, but I think I'm doing alright at the minute. Littler also responded to comparisons with legends like Phil Taylor. Asked whether he'd chase 16 world titles, he laughed. If I win the next 16 in a row, then obviously I'll retire, he said with a grin. It was a playful jab at the idea that his story might already be approaching an ending. The truth, it's just getting started. Littler knows the cameras are on him. He knows the sport is watching, and he's not shrinking from it, he's embracing it. He didn't deny the pressure. He just refused to let it define him. No rant, no drama, just the calm confidence of someone who knows exactly where he belongs. And for now, that place is on the oche, dart in hand, still just getting started. So, was Nathan Aspinall speaking from concern? Or was he starting a conversation the sport desperately needed to have? Maybe it was both. And if you want to see what pressure really looks like in darts, what happens when the game collides with obsession, addiction, and legacy, then you don't want to miss this next story. It's about a man who drank 24 beers a day and still competed at the highest level. Click now to watch.